Hey there, welcome back to the Free Black Women's Library YouTube channel. Thanks so much for clicking on this video. Thanks so much for liking this video. Thanks so much for leaving a comment for this video. Thanks so much for subscribing to my channel. Thank you, thank you, thank you. So, yeah, we are now at the halfway mark for the series, the Runaway Hit HBO series, produced, written, directed, and starring our brilliant, beautiful Black star, Michaela Cole, based on a true story of an experience of Michaela Cole called I May Destroy You. So it's 12 episodes in total, and we are now at episode 6. I recently discovered that pretty much the entire series is on YouTube. And there's other ways to access it as well in this country, and it's pretty much done in the UK. But I am committed to doing one episode a week the way I'm supposed to, because I feel like that gives me some good time to really, engage with the story in a deeper way, and also think back and reflect on the past episodes, take time in between in case they're really intense, take time. So I'm gonna do 1 week at a time, all right? And hopefully you'll do 1 week at a time with me. And if you've seen the entire series, please try not to spoil it in the comments for those who are doing it week for week, like myself. So, anywho, we are now at the halfway mark, episode 6, and I thought it would be interesting to take a deeper dive. As someone who would like to one day be known as a Black feminist cultural theorist, as a visual scholar, as a media scholar, I thought it would be fun to do a little bit of analysis with this story, to look at the different themes and threads that have been running through the story so far. And I also created like a little book list because part of my work is sharing Black women's literature with my community and with the world and with whoever would like to engage around that. So I created a little bit of a book list, books written by Black women that I feel have similar themes within the series, within the books. Blah, blah, blah. Nerd out, nerd out. All right, let's do this. So, as I said, and of course I have some notes because I never want to forget anything. There are threads and themes that run all throughout the show, and there's a lot of those. There's the theme of isolation, the theme of loneliness, themes of friendship, drug use, party culture, the complications of and intersections of race and gender, as in the last episode with Theo and Brian and Marcus and the Alliance. So, there's a lot going on, but I'm going to focus on 3 in this video. I'm going to focus on 3 specific ones, and you let me know your thoughts. You let me know what you think about what I'm sharing, these ideas that I'm sharing. So, the first one, the first theme and thread, and the reason why I chose these 3 is because I feel like they are the most consistent and the most relevant for me, and probably for a lot of people who are engaging with the work. I could be wrong about that, and if I'm wrong, please let me know. But I only have my own opinion. I'm not really an academic, and I also believe in like having fun with this work, as well as engaging with it in a very nuanced way and a very subjective way, etc., etc. So, anywho, so the first theme is that of phones. Okay, the first thread. First theme / thread is phones and the symbol of phones and what phones represent for us right now and what they have represented for a long time. Even back in 2004, in the last episode, phones meant something significant. So I'm just going to touch on this a little bit more, and you let me know your thoughts. So we first see the phone being used as a plot device in the very beginning when Arabella's phone is smashed, right? And Terry's like, how'd you smash your phone? And I feel like that is pretty much what is the first clue to Arabella that something weird has happened because she can't remember how she smashed her phone. Now, smashing your phone is like some, it's some low key, like really low, really low key traumatic shit, right? Because it messes up the look of your phone. It makes it difficult to send texts, to take pictures. It costs money to get that shit fixed. So I have actually had that experience with friends where I've seen their phone smash, and I'm like, how did that happen? Because I know it's just a shitty thing. And the fact that Arabella couldn't remember is what gave us the first clue that something had happened, right? So that was like a plot point, plot thread theme. Now, moving on from that, it is her phone that she uses to figure out where Alyssa lives, because she takes a picture of Simon's Uber list, and then she traces that address. I don't know how she found the apartment, but either way, she traces the address, she finds where Alyssa lives, and that's when she finds out Alyssa also got spiked. That same night that she got spiked, Alyssa got spiked. Although Alyssa seems really unbothered and like not worried at all about that. The fact that she was drugged. Like, come on, girl, you were drugged. Why aren't you mad? So, anywho, and then moving on, when we find out that stealthing, excuse me, that stealthing is a moment of sexual violation and a moment of rape is through the phone. When Arabella wakes up and she does her yoga challenge through her phone, then she listens to podcasts on her phone, and that's when she discovers that what Zayn did was manipulative and fucked up and basically rape, because she's listening to the podcast. So there it is with the phone again. So she learns about stealthing, and then in addition to that, it is the phone that is used when she calls Zayn out in front of everybody at the lit circle, and Terry catches him on her phone as he's leaving, becomes a GIF that goes viral on her phone. There's a sub-thread of technology and a sub-thread of social media and the internet, definitely underneath this main thread. Them going viral with that story, her going home, having a conversation with Zayn, he yells at her, victim shames her, having a conversation with him, and through technology, through the phone, through the camera, I guess it's Skype, and she slams the computer down, closes it, and then she goes on her phone and she takes a bunch of selfies, she posts them, and she gets all these likes, and we see these hearts and bubbles and just this love glow that comes out, and it's like a glow of love washing over her, when about 5 seconds before she took those selfies, she was crying in her clothes. So she was using her phone once again to, I guess, make herself feel better, because Zayn Biagio had just screamed at her. So he was kind of an asshole, and I hope that he makes up for it in future episodes, but I don't have a lot of faith in that. So she gets the love and hearts through her phone. She goes home. Moving on with the very last episode with Theo and Ryan. It is through the phone that all the drama starts, because he's taking pictures and video on his phone of where he's having sex with Theo. Ryan is violating Theo in a really fucked up way, and he sent the pictures to Marcus through his phone, and turns out that those images that Marcus had on his phone were what saved Ryan from not being convicted as a rapist, because it was her word against his, and they were definitely believing her because the police were coming. There was no ifs, ands, uts about it. And he gets his ass saved by the alliance, by Terry and Arabella, when they take the video and photos that are on their phone to the principal and show. So it's like there's like this phone thing that's happening, and I don't think I'm reaching. I feel like there's something that's being said about how phones can be used as a resource, as a form of connection, as a form of communication. Phones can also be an addiction. They're a symbol of our culture. They're must-haves. They're who we are. They're part of what shape us. The ways that we use our phone are part of what shape us, and part of what how we communicate with other people. Is governed by phone usage. We have the scene in Italy when Terry texted Kwame, "Oh, I just had a threesome," and she seemed really happy about it, although that's up for debate as well. But her texting him about the threesome, it kind of makes it seem like she really enjoyed it. And Kwame's like, "Yeah, girl," you know. And then even with Kwame, when it comes to the phone, using Grindr to hook up and meet these random men in these supermarkets and these schools, arranging the threesome that ended up really giving us a horribly traumatic moment, possibly the most traumatic moment we've had so far, in my opinion, because we haven't seen what happened to Arabella technically. So I feel like that scene with Kwame and Horny Man 808 is pretty much the most violent scene we've seen so far. And he met that guy through his phone, and the only clue that he has about where that guy lives is on his phone. So there's a lot of phone stuff, and I think there's something being said there. I think I have some notes about that. I think I said this already, but I'm just going to say it again because it's what I wrote down. Phones as a refuge and a resource. Phones give us a chance to connect and learn, and they're a tool which can aid us, and which we can also use as a form of escape. And yeah, that's it. So, thread number 2. I'm doing good. I'm trying to keep this video so I'm only focusing 10 minutes on each one. And I'm going to share the books and I'll be done. Thank you to the person who left the comment saying my videos are not too long and that they're a good amount of time. I appreciate you, because there's this thing written about the people's attention and how long you can hold their attention. So, and I never want to push it. But anyway, thread number 2. Now, thread number 2, I'm calling sexual manipulation, sexual exploration. Exploration, manipulation, sexual. Now, initially, I was thinking about calling this like rape culture, but I realized when I looked up rape culture and read some articles and watched some videos about rape culture, and as far as the definition goes, it basically means when we normalize sexual violence against women. And I don't think that's the only thing that's happening here in this series, although that is definitely happening. So I consider that a sub-thread of this concept of rape culture. And then the other thing I was thinking about is, can we call it patriarchy? No, we can't really call it that either. And the reason why I'm saying that is because of what happened to Kwame, and also because of what happened between Theo and Brian. So anywho, I'll get to that. But I consider patriarchy another sub-thread underneath this huge umbrella that I'm titling sexual exploration / manipulation. Now, of course, it's obvious why I'm saying that. Arabella's assault is a manipulative moment. Even the so-called threesome that was supposed to take place between Simon and Kat and Alyssa, it was presented as exploration, but it was actually a manipulation, because Simon was pretending like he didn't know this woman. Meanwhile, he's been fucking her for 5 months. So Kat thinks they're being exploratory, but she's actually being manipulated. And Arabella was manipulated. Kwame, our beautiful, gorgeous, out and proud Black king, he is sexually exploring through the use of Grindr. He's making friends, and having these very short and lovely moments in random places. But unfortunately, he ends up in a situation where he is violated. So there's an exploration, and then there's a manipulation, and then there's rape. And yeah. Ooh, I'm still mad. I'm still upset about that. I'm mad that they showed us all of that. Terry in Italy with her threesome. So Terry was having her moment of sexual exploration in Italy, having a threesome. It was obviously her first time, and she considered it wild, as she said at the audition. When they asked her, what's the wildest thing you've ever done? She said, I had a threesome once. So she doesn't seem ashamed or embarrassed or unclear about the experience, but there still feels like there was some sense of manipulation there, and I'm still processing, trying to figure out what, and maybe they'll give us some more clues within the next 6 episodes. But so Terry's threesome was I'm labeling as sexual exploration for now. She wanted to fuck in that bed, and she fucked in that bed. Go girl. Kwame and Malik, the short sweet moment that we saw between Kwame and Malik, the young brother with the sad eyes who came to see him at the dance school, who's like, I'm not sure if I'm gay or not, but I know I'm attracted to you, you know, and Kwame's like, dig it. I like Kwame, and I'm really upset that that happened to him, so I'm always going to be mad about that. Now, sexual exploration, manipulation, what else can we consider? The situation, the moment between Arabella and Zayn, when they're having sex for the first time, and he takes the condom off without telling her, stealthing. He takes the condom off, continues to have sex with her. She thinks that he's got the condom on. She thinks they're having safe sex. But in actuality, he's doing her raw. And then he tries to pretend like he didn't mean it, or why couldn't she feel it, or I'm so sorry, I had no idea. So he basically manipulates the situation by acting innocent. He gives you that nice guy bullshit. Like, let me tell you something. Nice guys are a myth, okay? Nice guys are like unicorns. Nice guys are like allies. Like, nice guys is a performance. So don't fall for the bullshit. If you're dealing with somebody who comes off as a nice guy, like there's no edge to him whatsoever, or her, let me not be gender, being nice is, I don't know, it's just a label. It's just a label that people have. I don't know how to explain it, but I think, or maybe I'm just jaded, but I just feel like niceness is overrated. I would rather someone be honest and upfront than nice, but that's just me. What else do we have when it comes to this thread of sexual exploration, manipulation, and so on? Oh, of course, we have the situation with Theo and Ryan, right? Theo and Ryan they're teenagers, and they're exploring. They're having sex. They're doing all types of grown folks, triple X-rated stuff in the school building, on campus, and Theo's going down on him. Ryan's hitting it from the back. And they're exploring each other, they're enjoying each other, and then he pulls out his phone like a manipulative piece of trash that he is, pulls out his phone. I'm mad he got away with doing that bullshit. I'm mad that his boy Marcus has all this footage on his phone of girls. Maybe we'll see the Leanne character at some point, but I'm so mad at them, and I didn't want Ryan to go to jail for get convicted for raping a white girl by knife point. I didn't want that for him, because that's not what happened. But the fact that he got away with doing what he did is fucked up. Even though I don't like Theo either. So yeah, anywho. But Theo and Ryan. So that was a manipulative moment. Somehow she ended up getting money out of him, and she threw his phone out the window. And, you know, I forgot, I didn't mention throwing the phone out the window in my phone part of this video, but let's just act like I did. So anywho, so there's that. So there are all these moments of sexual exploration that sometimes lead to manipulation, which is a hard thing for me to process. I don't want to just think that they're saying one thing always leads to the other. Um, I don't think so. I think you can explore sexually and still be safe. And I think that even if you aren't exploring, you can still have traumatic moments. So I don't think that just because you're a free, hypersexual, promiscuous, I don't know what other word I should use, type of person doesn't mean that you're putting yourself at risk. And just because you are asexual and don't do anything with anybody doesn't mean that you're not at risk. So I don't think that's what's being said here, but there are moments when exploring leads to manipulation, and there are moments where it leads to pleasure, like with Biagio and Arabella. And Kwame's definitely had some good experiences, and as far as that threesome, who knows? So I think that's all I'm going to say about that part. And then the third thread that I'm going to talk about, I'm doing so good. It's 20 minutes, y'all. 10 minutes per thread. Ah! All right, let me calm down. So, number three, I decided I'm going to call it the Black Feminist thread, okay? And I don't know if Michaela Cole identifies as a Black feminist. I don't know if Arabella does either. And I'm sure that people who are Black feminist theorists might debate this with me, and I'm always down for a good debate. I believe in like sharpening my sword, but just the fact that this is based on a true story, this is an experience that happened to a Black woman. It's a drug facilitated sexual attack, drug facilitated rape, right? This is a moment that is devastating and painful, where something happens to you and that is such a deep and such a deep violation of your body, of your spirit, of your mind. It is painful, emotionally painful. Outside of the physical pain that you might be experiencing, it's also emotionally, it's like heartbreaking. Feeling safe, feeling smart, feeling worthy, feeling treasured, feeling loved, feeling cared for, feeling beautiful. All these things are something that a moment like this can take away that sense of those feelings. It can just, it can fuck you up. It can fuck you up. So, the fact that Michaela Cole took this story and took this experience and wrote it out 191 times. I read that she wrote this 191 times, this script. The fact that she wrote this over and over and over again because she wanted to get it right, because she wanted to tell this story, because she wanted to put this out in the world and share, because she knows this is something that happens to women all the time. I'm sure it happens to other genders as well. But the fact that she put this story out there and decided to share it, I feel is so empowering and so beautiful. And I feel like I said this in my first video, but taking a horrible experience, a painful moment in your life, and reshaping it, twisting it up, ripping it apart, setting it on fire, right? Taking those ashes, adding a little water, a little hot sauce, garlic, and turning it into something else, and then giving birth to it, putting it out into the world, is some powerful, conjuring, Black magic, Black feminist, womanist shit, okay? This is something that Black women have been doing since the beginning of time, because Black women struggle and Black women suffer on this fucking planet forever, okay? And yet and still, we take these moments of suffering, these moments of violence, these moments of suffering, and we turn it into poetry and music and dance and film and TV shows and hairstyles and makeup and food, sculpture, so many different things. Like, we really have a special gift, and this is me just based on what I've read and what I've learned, moving through moments like being enslaved, moving through moments where we were treated like mules and workhorses, moving through moments even now where we're not seen as human, where we're not considered human by many people, where we're disrespected and not even safe in our own communities, and still we shine, yet and still we are fly as fuck, moving through these streets and dealing with being street harassed, dealing with being looked down on by the police, dealing with walking through stores and being followed all over the fucking store. Like, it's Family Dollar. Why are you following me? I'm not gonna steal some bathroom tissue. Calm down. Like dealing with all that and still shining, twerking, coming up with new ways of being each and every day is some powerful Black feminist shit. And I feel like this is part of what Michaela Cole did with this work. She took this moment and she turned it into something incredible, and not only because it's well written, well directed, well acted, well shot, soundtrack popping, but also because it has been a springboard and a catalyst for so much powerful conversation around consent, around gender, around drug and party culture, around rape culture. I mean, I've been seeing some really deep conversations online, and I'm sure people are having them in person as well. So, anywho, the other thing that I want to say is I want to read this quote from Michaela. She said this in an interview, and I thought it was a Black feminist statement. I always knew I had to be brave if I wanted to be heard. Okay? And when I saw her in the interview say this, she was kind of tearing up a little bit, and the person that was actually interviewing her was full out crying. It was a Black woman. I always knew I had to be brave if I wanted to be heard. Now, there's an essay written by Audre Lorde called The Transformation of Silence into Language and Action, where she says something similar. And I couldn't help but think of it. And I have that book with me because I want to read it to y'all. I have come to believe over and over again that what is most important to me must be spoken, made verbal, and shared, even at the risk of having it bruised or misunderstood. I have come to believe over and over again that what is most important to me must be spoken, made verbal, and shared, even at the risk of having it bruised or misunderstood, right? Now, when Michaela Cole says, I always knew I had to be brave if I wanted to be heard, do y'all see the connection I'm making right there? The idea of I have something inside me that is hurting, that is bursting, that is pushing, that is blooming, and even if the world might not understand it, even if my community might not get it or might not feel it, I'm going to share it. I'm going to write it out. I'm going to think it out, talk it out, dance it out, walk it out. I'm going to share it, okay? And that is some Black feminist shit. Black feminism for me means as Black women that we are fully invested in our own healing, in our own safety, and in our own liberation, okay? Black feminism means that we are thinking intersectionality? Black feminism means that we are thinking intersectionally. Yes. So we are fully invested in our own healing, our own safety, and our own liberation. Now, Arabella is definitely invested in her own safety, in her own healing, and in her own liberation as a character. From the very beginning, as soon as she realizes that she was spiked, she goes straight to the police. Now, I don't believe in police. You know, I'm low-key abolitionist, but what else was she gonna do? She had to figure out who did it. And lucky for her, the police women that she dealt with were on point. They were nurturing, they heard her out, they gave her the support, the adequate amount of support that she needed. Unfortunately, that's not what happened with Kwame. Kwame, I feel like Kwame was already traumatized, and that police situation just added trauma on top of the trauma. And Kwame's situation in the series is based on the fact that he is male, presents as male. But I think that what happened to Kwame when he went to the police is something that happens to a lot of women when they go to the police, especially black women. I know that there are times when black women are raped or assaulted and try to get help. I know this from personal experience. Try to get help from the police. The police don't do anything. They just kind of like, okay, cool story, bro. So, anywho, continuing on with this thread of black feminism and black womanism, I'm thinking about how Michaela/Arabella is invested in her own safety, healing, and liberation. She goes straight to the police. She gives testimony. Like, she doesn't even think about it. Like, she's like, as soon as she finds out that she got spiked, she goes straight to the cops. Like, no, it's not cool. I need to find out who did this. And then she gives her testimony. She cries. She seems to not want to, like, really have a full out tremendous cry, and that concerns me a little bit, but not everybody does that, so it's fine. And yeah, she goes to therapy. She listens to her therapist. She tries to do the different things that her therapist suggests that will help her to move through the pain of her experience. The coloring books, the dance classes, the yoga, the painting, the spray painting, the support group, Theo's support group, which I don't trust at all. I don't trust Theo, but Theo's support group is another way that she has found to work on her trauma. So I think the pain and struggle and complications of black womanhood, whatever they might be, even if you haven't had a particularly traumatic experience, there are day-to-day small, subtle jabs that society and community sends your way through media, through conversation within the community. And I think that the work of being a black woman involves doing things that cater to your own spirit, that nurture your own spirit, that help to affirm your humanity, your softness, your femininity, your heart, your brilliance, your creativity, your beauty. So doing different things. For me, I'm a huge, like, the ritual of dance, the ritual of movement in general is something that really helps me emotionally. I dance, I do yoga, and I take naps, I stretch, I jump rope. All these different things really help me emotionally, you know. And then also creating. I love to create, I love to draw, make paper, collage, and make videos. So these are all different ways that I move through my feelings and move and work with my emotions and work with my, you know, myself, my sensuality, my erotic nature. All right, so that was thread number 3, and yeah, those were my three threads. Oh, I'm so proud of myself that I made it through all of that with only a little bit of stuttering. All right, so now I'm going to share the books. So I already mentioned The Transformation of Silence into Language and Action, an essay from the book Sister Ousider, written by Audre Lorde. It's a collection of essays really powerful work. That specific essay is what really jumped out at me when I was thinking about this video and this idea of sharing your story and standing in your truth and unashamedly, unapologetically, you know, telling the world whatever you need to tell them in a way that works for you, and whatever happens, happens. Maybe you have an HBO hit series on your hands. Who knows? All right. Now, the next book I'm going to share, it's a book called Reclaiming Our Space. It's written by a really dope Black feminist writer named Feminista Jones. And Reclaiming Our Space, how Black feminists are changing the world from the tweets. How Black feminists are changing the world from the tweets to the streets, is about how we can use our phones as a form of, as political connections and as communications and as, tools of movement, tools of connection, tools of inspiration, tools of encouragement, tools of learning, social media, tweeting, Facebooking, blogging, Instagramming, sharing things, hashtags, like all these different ideas. It talks about how there's all these different ways that Black feminists and Black, womanists, poets, writers, activists, community organizers, professors, deep thinkers, scholars, cultural workers, the ways that these Black women have used social media to wake people up, basically. Ooh, I'm sweating. It's hot, it's summer. So the next book I'm gonna share, it is called Sisters of the Yam. And it's written by Bell Hooks, and it's Sisters of the Yam, Black Women in Self-Recovery. And Bell Hooks is an amazing, brilliant Black feminist scholar, professor, writer, thinker. Oh my goodness, she's so dope. And it says Bell Hooks addresses the inner well-being of Black women and how their development is shaped by the daily assault of institutionalized structures of domination. Tackling such issues as addiction, truth-telling, work, grieving, spirituality, criticism, reconciliation, and forgiveness. Bell Hooks shares numerous strategies for self-recovery that can heal individuals and empower effective struggle against racism, sexism, and consumer capitalism. Now, if you've been watching my other videos, you know that I like to do this thing called 4 hurts, 4 heals, and a favorite. I think that even though this work is I May Destroy You, when I say this work, I'm talking about the series, is hurtful and can be triggering, it can also be healing, because at the end of the day, we know that she survived. You know what I'm saying? At the end of the day, we know that not only did she survive, she thrived because she was able to get all this out and let us know what happened to her. And there's something very healing about that, and there's something very optimistic about that. So, there might be more trauma coming, but I'm gonna push right through it. And there's another book which I wanted to recommend, but I couldn't find my copy. I think somebody might have borrowed it and not given it back. But it's a book called Hunger, and it's by Roxane Gay. It's Roxane Gay's memoir. Roxane Gay is also another Black feminist, writer, professor, scholar, deep thinker, awesome ass person to follow on Twitter. I love Roxane Gay's writing. I love her mind. And so the book Hunger is her memoir, and in it she talks about her experience of living in a fat body, and also she shares experiences that she had. Trigger warning, there is a rape in the story. She is gang raped. As a spoiler, I don't think that's a spoiler. I think that's something that you should know. I think that's something you should know before you read it, just in case it might be too much for you. But So it's about her, that experience, and how she moves and manages and lives in her body after going through that experience. And it's just excellent. It's really deep, it's really intense, but it's also super, super excellent. So that's Hunger by Roxane Gay. And then the last book, which is a little contentious, I wanted to include fiction. All the books that I've talked about so far are all nonfiction. I know I've seen some people online that didn't really like this book, but I liked it. It's called Queenie, and it's by Candice Carty Williams. I like this book. And part of why I added this book to the list is not only because it's fiction, but because the main character is a British black woman who's of Caribbean descent, and she's a mess. Just like Arabella, she is a mess. All right, Queenie's a mess. Her name is Queenie. She's a mess. I like that this book, just like I May Destroy You, it captures like British slang. It captures Black British slang. The voices of her family members are really distinct and really pronounced as far as the language that's used with those characters. And Queenie is just moving through life, making some major mistakes, and learning from them, and just trying to figure herself out, trying to figure life out. And it's, I like this book. And after I finished it, I read some things online about it, and I read that a lot of people didn't really like it, but I think it's because the character is just so messy, and yeah, but sometimes that's how we are. And I definitely related to her a little bit, not a lot, but I related to certain aspects of her, and I wanted to include a work of fiction, and I wanted to include a young read, and I wanted to include a Black British read in this list. So that's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 books. 5. I liked 5. I like that number. So, Sister Outsider by Audre Lorde, Reclaiming Our Space, Feminista Jones, Sisters of the Yam, Black Women in Self-Recovery, Hunger, Roxane Gay, and Queenie by Candice Carty Williams. So, if you read any of these books, let me know what you think about them. Let me know if you like them. Let me know what you didn't like about them. If there are any particular threads in the series, episodes 1 through 6, that have come up for you, that speak to you, that feel relevant or significant, let me know. Leave me a comment. I really love getting comments. I love engaging with y'all around this show, and just in general, it's fun. It's why I'm doing this, just to build community and just see what people are thinking out there. We're still in Corona, y'all. We're still in Corona. We're still in quarantine. So I'm in the house, just trying to keep myself busy, engaged, and curious, and just having a good old time. And I hope you're doing the same. If you are going out, I hope you're masked up and social distancing, staying safe, because we're still in Corona. So just be easy. I know people are pressed to be out in the world, but it's not time yet. It'll be there. Just have a little patience. All right. So I think that's all I wanted to share. Yeah. Thread 1, phones, technology, social media. Thread 2, sexual exploration, exploitation, manipulation. And thread 3, black feminism, womanism, healing, empowerment, truth, communication, humanity, creating, artistry, getting yourself together, and doing what you need to do to make yourself feel like a human, nurtured, loving, creative, brilliant being, because you are one. All right, so that's it. That's the end of my video. 44 minutes is way too long. and I hope you stayed and watched the whole thing. I have a Patreon. If you want to support my work, think about becoming a Patreon of the Free Black Women's Library. I'll put a link in the description box in case you want to get into that work. All right. I'll see you for my recap of episode 7. Bye, y'all.